Hello, my name is Eve Cornwell. I'm a trainee solicitor at a law firm called Linklaters, which is a corporate law firm based in London, and I'm super excited to be working with QLT to help them celebrate, introduce and announce their Ally Network. So what does the Ally Network mean? Well, the Ally Network basically means that QLT will be producing a lot of ally focused content. So they're going to be producing monthly interviews where they interview people in the community, allies, organizations or firms that have committed to allyship. These monthly interviews could be videos, they could be podcasts, they could be written interviews. They are also compiling an online document all about allyship. It's going to be a guide that will be hopefully compiled by the end of 2020, which will talk about the intersectional struggles that members of the LGBTQ+ community can face when trying to approach a legal career or a career in law. Hopefully this will be a guide that can be used by university law societies, by law schools, that can be used as a guide to kind of organize, encourage and facilitate safe and inclusive spaces for students who identify themselves within the LGBTQ+ community. I think effective allyship is listening and trying to understand what struggles or barriers that members of the LGBTQ+ community may feel. Once you've heard why someone might struggle, then you can then work to amplify their experience and support more generally the LGBTQ+ cause. I still think there is a big problem with the objectification with the LGBTQ+ community. I think that a lot of brands in particular can really not see the difference between effective allyship and complete objectification of LGBTQ+ culture. Kind of like branding yourself with rainbows and glitter once a year in Pride Month doesn't necessarily make you an ally. Being an ally is also taking active steps to support and amplify the community beyond just kind of like the aesthetic appeal of the LGBTQ+ community. Allyship is important because the world is not yet equal. And if you think there isn't an issue with equality in the LGBTQ+ community, then unfortunately you're living in a bubble. Only a week, 2 weeks ago, the Supreme Court finally recognized that in an employment context, protection from discrimination on the basis of sex is extended to sexual orientation and gender identity. We're in 2020 and yet we're still consistently fighting administrations that want to erase, target and attack the LGBTQ+ community. But I also think it's important to realize that these kind of big acts of government that we may see on the news aren't always the biggest issue on a day-to-day basis. On a day-to-day basis, the biggest issues can be microaggressions. They can be things that you hear in the workplace that make members of the LGBTQ+ community feel excluded or marginalized. The reason why being an ally is so important is because if you have educated yourself, if you've spoken to members of the LGBTQ+ community, then you're able to call out those microaggressions. And then alongside that, we just need to continue fighting and shouting about these consistent attacks by particular administrations, legal attacks on the community. How to be a good ally. I think number one, recognize that you will never fully understand the LGBTQ+ experience. Firstly, because it's so intersectional and every experience will be different. I think it's so important to ask questions rather than stay silent. A lot of people might say they're very scared of getting things wrong, maybe with use of pronouns or just kind of like how they classify members of the LGBTQ+ community. And I kind of think mistakes are okay as long as you then learn from them. No one's gonna get everything right at the start. And so the more you can ask questions and listen and be actively interested in trying to be inclusive, that is what defines a good ally. My favorite ally is probably Lady Gaga. I think she's absolutely incredible and I don't think she's ever accepted an award at an award show without recognizing and celebrating her LGBTQ+ community and fans. I know that she was very vocal against the US military policy, don't ask, don't tell. She's been very vocal in protecting members of the transgender community, especially in all of the efforts by both the Obama and Trump administration to take away a lot of their rights. And also, it cannot be forgotten, her cameo on RuPaul's Drag Race. Definitely, without a doubt, my favorite episode of RuPaul Drag Race, just because she had such a genuine and raw, passionate love for all of the drag art in front of her, and then all of the critiques she gave, and especially in the Untucked additional episode. If you're also a huge drag addict like me, you will have also watched all of the Untucked episodes, and she spoke to everyone with such love and such empowerment and as much understanding as she could do. I think I cried multiple times throughout the episode. That was just so moving, and yeah, I think she's an example of a really active and consistent ally. Okay, a huge thank you to QLT for inviting me on and for allowing me to help celebrate their new ally network. I think this is going to be an incredible resource for a lot of people that do genuinely want to be more active allies for the LGBTQ+ community. I'm really excited to see all of the people that QLT interview. Yeah, that's the end of my segment. I don't know how to end a video that like isn't my own video. Bye! Bye!